Welcome back to the Lorcana Hobbyists. I am the Hobbyist Novice, joined by my co-host, Cameron, Lorcana curator herself. Cameron, how you doing today?
I am good. How about yourself?
Awesome. But first off, I think before we even get into anything, thank you so much for everyone who's listened, watched our first episode, got some good response to that. So I appreciate everyone taking a listen to us, giving us a chance to this new venture that we're into. Pretty excited about it for sure. Going into things, it is release week, so a lot going on this week. Absolutely. Cameron, are you going to any events this week?
I am. I am going to a starter deck tournament on Saturday, and I am going to Disney Springs on Friday, and then I am going to go straight from there to work. I am taking the morning off to try to get a trove and a quest, hopefully.
Yeah, the quest, I think after reading about like everything with the quest, I think that's the thing I'm actually most excited for the release week. Is that what
Oh
you're
yeah,
most excited for? Yeah.
for
And
sure. I
it
love the single player, the two player, whatever it is. I'm so pumped for it. Like it's the I okay, so I love playing card games and I love the 1v1 thing, but I always hate that there's kind of like one loser and one winner. So I very much love that it is like a you win together or you lose together, but either way you're together.
yeah, it's very interesting concept. And I like that it's like different varies of difficulty too, which is really cool.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to just kind of see how this plays out. Hopefully we can find one. I think you're gonna have good odds at Disney Springs. I mean, from like what we've seen, it seems like they've been pretty loaded. So I'm kind of hoping you should be able to get one.
I'm hoping so because none of my LGSs had any pre-orders for them, so I am a little
Yeah.
bit nervous because I am trying to stay spoiler free on that prize card until I win it for myself.
Yeah, no, me too. I know it's kind of been making the rounds over the last week or so, trying to stay clear of that. I've had to like stay away from a lot of the online stuff just because I feel like it has been everywhere. Like it
Exactly.
almost got spoiled for me. It quickly clicked out. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see that. So quickly got out of that. So it's still spoiler free. Yeah, I'm dying to get that thing, man. It looks awesome.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
And between that, the Trove is definitely probably going to be one or two on everyone's list. I love the Troves, especially what they've done now with the different card dividers in them too. How'd you feel how they did about the card dividers in this set? Did you get a chance to look at those?
Yeah, I don't I'd prefer the ink colors. To
Yeah.
be honest, I bought some card dividers in set 1 before there were official ones, and I'm just gonna keep going with those. Just buying the same ones because I like the way that the ink ones are, and I didn't buy enough troves from set 2 to just keep with that. And I don't sort by rarity, so I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure why they did that, but
Yeah, that was an interesting. I kind of almost wish that they were going to go that route to kind of make them double-sided. So like one side you have your ink color, the other side you have your rarity. So if you
that
do
would
want
have
to go
been
one way, you have that option.
that would have been so much better. Like I don't yeah, the rarity thing just I do love the new dice though. I feel like that I thought they were a little bit purple and green,
Yeah.
and I like that.
Yeah, and that was cool, but yeah, I'm like you. I completely just sort by ink color. So yeah, I thought that was kind of odd, but I guess just trying something different for every trove.
Mm-hmm. Because that is how I keep my whole collection. They're all in just my troves with the little card dividers.
Yeah. And I feel like two troves perfectly almost hold like the entire set, a play set of everything. So that's
Oh
kind
yeah.
of been my route that I've gone with. I haven't gotten even any extra storage stuff for it, just because I've just been keeping the play sets and everything else I've either traded or given away just for like the extra stuff that I've had. Yeah, super excited. We're recording this on Tuesday. We're just a few days away now from getting our hands on these Ursula's return cards. Is there a certain
So
card now that
pumped.
everything's been out, now that we know everything? What are you most looking forward to?
You know what? I kind of gotta I looked at the starter decks and I tried to like feel them out a little bit. And honestly, Thebes kind of a game changer, turning everything into a Robin Hood champion of Sherwood. Gonna mention it later in the podcast. We have an interview coming up. But that card just, when it goes off, it goes off.
Yeah, there's so many cards, and I feel like I don't know that I mean, of course, there's probably going to be a meta coming out of this at some point, but I feel like there's just so many different ways you can go, where almost every color has a way to shine right now with this new set.
Oh yeah. Just just everything has something good. Like the Ariel Singer 7. Just there's so many good options.
Yeah, like for me, like Emerald players, like Inkcaster, just a basic normal card. Now with all these uninkable cards that I felt like were useless to me for so long, now they're not. And I feel like
It
it's just going to
just,
completely redo my decks.
yeah, it just completely like changes the way that Emerald feels. I mean, it opens so many avenues.
Yeah, and that was the thing I usually got the most annoyed about with playing Emerald and Steel, because I usually play Emerald or Steel together, obviously. But it's just you get so many uninkable cards that you just are stuck at times, especially if you mulligan hard and then you just end up with more uninkables and you just feel kind of screwed going into the opening of the round. A card like Inkcaster is a complete game changer. So that's one of the cards I'm most excited for. Common card. I didn't expect that to happen.
No, I know. These comments, they pop off. I mean, especially like when you're thinking about them in draft, because I'm personally a draft guy. You said you're doing a draft for the first time, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I've never seen any store around me not do like a starter deck draft to kick things off. They're kicking it off with the draft with 4 packs, making a deck from the 4 packs. I assume it's 40 cards. I haven't done any drafts yet, but that's what I'm assuming. So yeah,
Is
really
it
excited to
draft
do
or
that.
is it a sealed? Because there's a little bit of a difference where
Well, maybe it is.
sealed is you just get the 4 packs, you open them, you build from that. Draft is you open a pack, the person next to you opens a pack, and then you all just kind of pass it to the left. Next pass you pack it to the right. Uh, which I personally prefer that draft as opposed to sealed, but both are very fun.
Yeah, I think just looking at it real quick, it says sealed draft. So maybe it can go either way. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll find out more.
Yeah, I'll find out. But either way, it's cool. It's just different way. Like I'm the only things I've done so far is the sealed starter decks to kick things off for each set that's come out. So yeah, definitely completely different. Strategy wise, have no idea what to do going in because I don't know what to expect. So that's kind of cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Is there
It's
a
always
certain no, go ahead.
I always just try to do my best to like listen to like Knive and 40 Born. Like those guys really know what they're talking about with draft stuff.
Mhm.
So I always try to tune into those guys before I go to any drafts.
Yeah, so many content creators have just such good information out there. I can't tell you how many things I'd watched going into the Stitch Championships trying to figure things out, even though it didn't work out that great. But just to like get ideas and stuff, there's just so many. Like I watch Specky. I forget how you pronounce his name, but I watch him a lot. Watch him play on Pixel Board and stuff, and he has a lot of cool stuff going on too. And Lorcana Villain, another one I
Mm.
check out a lot too. But yeah, is there a certain deck you hope to get going into these when you like one or the
I
other?
I personally am hoping for the Sapphire Steel one. I've messed with it a little bit and I like the way that it feels. There's some consenting or dissenting opinions out there. Again, we'll get to that interview about those specifically later. But yeah, that's the Sapphire Steel one is actually the one that I kind of prefer.
And I feel like every set that's come out, there really has been like one dominant deck. I feel like every one I've gone to so far, almost every time you go to like those top 8 or whatever it ends up being for me, is they all have the same deck.
Mhm. Like in the Mim
Yes.
Steel one was just
Yeah, it wasn't even a comparison.
yeah, that one is just top of the chain every time. Like it's just Mim Fox is just killing it. She is so good.
Yeah, I mean, I just got absolutely destroyed by a Mim deck at the Stitch Championships. The deck is just so good, and like I'm curious to see what kind of evolves from that deck now too, with so many different options coming up also.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
feel because there's just so many different ways you can go with those Mim decks too, so many different combinations with different colors. So it's always fun to see where that deck goes. I feel like that probably will be part of the meta continually too, but who knows? Kind of feel like it's all up in the air right now.
Oh yeah.
And I know we've been talking about you have an interview here coming up with Marc Valentine. You want to talk a little bit about that? We'll scoot it over to Mark.
Sure. I will do I'm just gonna steal the Live Laugh Lorcana intro thing and just do here comes my interview with Mark. Doodly, doodly, doodly. So we are here with Marc Valentine of Diz Life Podcast and Chip and Co. So you are the one that wrote up the starter deck, the write up for the starter deck for Chip and Co. And you wanted to share some of your thoughts and opinions on those starter decks.
Yes, I thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be talking about Lorcana. Normally at Chip and Company, we're just doing Disney parks, but I'm the Lorcana guy over there.
Mhm.
Since launch, since D23, I've been the beat writer that has covered all things Ravensburger. So I did something right, man. But yes, I do all of the articles when it's Lorcana based, product reviews, card reveals, all that stuff. Those fun jobs fall to me.
And I must say, all of them are always excellent. You do such an excellent job.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So we are trying to get some information on the starter decks, trying to get some of the strategies. What are some of the strategies that you saw? What are some of the easy?
Yeah, so one of the cool things about getting these things early, especially once embargo lifts, is we have the chance to talk about them. But my daughter and I get a chance to play them. She loves playing starter decks because the first thing that I want to say is if you're new to Lorcana, starter decks are just a really wonderful entry point into the game. You don't have to worry about customizing anything. Ravensburger's put together a 60 card deck, everything's on the rails. For the most part, these are very easy to pilot. It's not like that Mim bounce package from the Floodborn, which I think is the best starter deck, period, by the way. But these are very easy to pilot. So when we were playing with them, I found that there wasn't a tough learning curve with either one of the decks. Now, I do have a personal preference. It might just be style of play, but which one do you want to start with? Which
I honestly, I kind of want to know your thoughts on the Encanto deck.
Okay, I prefer the Encanto deck.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah, the key is Mirabelle synergy, kind of like the Seven Dwarves and Snow White from last set.
Mhm.
The pieces are not strong on their own, but once you can establish a healthy board state, once you can start to flood the board with various characters, and there's a lot of characters. There's 48 characters. Characters are key, and the madrigals are key. But the centerpiece or the keystone to all of it is Mirabelle, Gift of the Family. Okay. She's a 3/5. She has support. But the reason that she's so important is once you get her out, all of these other madrigals will quest for an additional lure. So the key to her is quest with her, add her support, pump up some of the other magical characters. My target, I'm looking at you, Louisa, strong one, magically strong one. She's a 4/3, but she has rush.
Mhm.
So you can quest with Mirabelle, add her support to Louisa, take down some of the bigger targets against your opponents. And then once you've got control, because a lot of these characters too, they have really nice willpower cost. So they don't go away all that easy. And if you're playing in a tournament strictly against other starter decks don't have a lot of removal. So once they burn their one or two smashes, you're good to go.
Mhm.
It's going to be challenges. And if you have a nice healthy board, you're going to usually come out on top with it, especially because these two colors that you're playing, Amethyst specializes in having evasive. So if you're having a draft night and say you're playing this weekend and you wind up getting the choice of one of these two decks, my pick is for Amethyst because when you can get an evasive ability, it's rare. It's not impossible to like deal with, but they only have two smashes. So once they burn those, there's more than two evasives in this, and you can quest wantonly without having to worry about being stopped. So getting these characters out are key. So Mirabelle is one of my key cards. Camillo is another one of the magicals I love. Very essential to get out. You can choose at the beginning of each turn. You can decide what the character morphs into. You can either give him +1 lore, or you can give him a challenger +2.
Mhm.
Um, he's a 2/5, and he's inkable, which is another thing. Most of these cards are inkable. Louisa was not, by the way. I don't know if that makes a difference, but she wasn't inkable. Not as good as a Rafiki. Um, but the card that, like, if I'm buying this, that I'm going to slot into another deck, and you just want to say, hey, which one am I going to get the most value out of building another deck? This deck to me is better because Isabella Madrigal, I think, is going to see play in the
Oh
meta.
yeah. Isabella is so good.
So good, right? So if no other character quests, she gets +3 lure for that turn. So early game, that's going to be important. Or if the board state is kind of neutral and you've just board wiped, I'm looking at you, Ruby Amethyst, and now you get her out and you're not wide, you're getting a tremendous value questing with her. Um, when she quests, no one else can quest, but who cares? If the board state is neutral and she's the only one that's out there and she's out in front, and you're not on the draw, this is amazing. So she's going to see a lot of play, I think, in these Amethyst decks. And again, she's 3/4, and she's inkable. And for a 5 cost, you're going to see her. She's really great for mid-range games. Look at this family is going to see a lot of play. That's the Amber thing together for 7. You top 5 cards. If you reveal 2 characters, you put them in your hand. Everything else goes to the bottom. That's going to see a ton of play with the sing mechanic. That's going to be in a lot of Amber Steel songs. And you're going to see that Ariel singing Mermaid, which is another just great card. She sings for 7. She's 4 inkable. I love this card. Like sing 7. Okay, sing 7. What's the downside? Even if you sing once with her and they go after, she's a lightning rod. She's going to take all the smoke, giving your Cinderella one more turn to maybe shift.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this deck. Some people are going to be like, Mark, you're crazy, but I play Amber Amethyst. The downsides, it does not deal with removal, right? Show me an Amber Amethyst deck that does. Right? You're playing Steel, you're playing Ruby. You have Houston, we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So the nice thing is, normally people who play these decks, you're not playing it during, the weekends where anyone can construct their deck. It's of the 2 decks, I think this one is easier to drive for this upcoming weekend. If you have a pre-release or a, what do we call these weekends?
Starter deck tournament is what I have going on this weekend. I would say, yeah, pre-release, just excitement parties. I don't know. Do we have
you guys? Yeah. Well, are they allowed to play any starter deck or just the new ones?
Just the new ones. And you get the 1 pack and you can use any of those cards from that pack. And then they give you an additional pack that you can use any of those cards as well. So right. it really lends, those extra packs really lend to the variety of decks there.
I would say in all of the starter decks that we've gotten, Magical Magic, I think if that's the name of it, is probably the 4th best. Top is that Floodborn Amethyst Steel bounce deck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That thing was just bonkers. Like you could tech in a few cards and that thing is tournament ready. That's how good that thing is. The Ruby Emerald, I think, continues to do well just because of the sheer number of evasives that are in it. I still think it's a really great ability. People just don't prepare for it the way that they should. And if you flood the board with stuff that's evasive, it's really tough to deal. I do like the Amber Emeralds deck from last set. I think that because of the locations and how
I was gonna say those locations are key.
Yeah, how quick those locations can roll out. That would be the 3rd, but I think this is a good deck. I think it's a really good deck.
All right.
And it's easy to pilot. That's the nice thing is you don't need a PhD in Lorcana to pilot that one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a basic Lorcana player and you get your choice of decks, I would pick that one. It's pretty easy. It's on the rails. Just flood the board with magicals. They do magical things.
All right. So what are your thoughts on the other one, the blue steel one, the sapphire steel?
All right. So I got all the nice stuff out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do not like the sapphire steel deck. Now I want to qualify that statement by saying I do not play sapphire well. Of all of the ink types, Sapphire is not really my speed. Now, what I do want to say though is I do think Sapphire is a very powerful ink when you lean into what Sapphire does really well. But this is a starter deck, which, in my opinion, does not ramp all that well. And there's also like 2 smashes in the entire deck. So it doesn't steal very well and it doesn't Sapphire very well. It's very mid. This is a very mid deck. And I don't understand the designers. I think they just, because they're like, people don't want to have 4 smashes, or like, they're not going to tech in older cards, which should be in any steel or sapphire deck, because they want to sell new decks, right? But by doing that, I think they've just created a deck that's kind of mid. It's all over the place. So support is key, right? Here's the strategy for Steel Sapphire. Like, you don't get a choice. The owner just gives you the deck. You have to pick them at random. And you're like, oh, crap. That guy on that Lorcana podcast just said I'm screwed. You're not. You're going to be all right. Here's your strategy. Get to Thebes and just battle, okay? Thebes is the location of choice. You want to do not mulligan, do not ink Thebes. Don't do it. That is your key to victory.
Yeah, Thebes is so good.
It's so good. And if you don't have it out, you're undermining what this deck does really well. So other cards you just want to base your entire strategy around, do not mulligan them. Do not get rid of them. Ling. He's a 3/3. He's inkable, but he gives all the other heroes +1. That is so important, right? And that's a great card. Like, that's just a great card, even beyond a starter deck. A 3/3 that you can ink, that's going to give all those other heroes a +1 is really great. I had a number. I had it written down. There's 17 heroes. There it is. So this is based around hero synergy. Anna is the other side of that. The art on that card is beautiful, by the way.
I personally, I think that's my favorite Enchanted, the Anna.
The Anna is a beautiful piece of art. Probably one of my favorites from the entire set. But she's a 2/4. She quests for 2. Ling only quests for 1. But when she does quest, heroes get +1 lore, and they can quest for an additional lore. So those 2 cards are going to synergize with all the other heroes. Almost the entire deck relies on the support mechanic. People who don't know how to play support right, definitely look at the rules book and make sure that you're playing support right. Questing with those characters, beefing somebody up, and then smashing into the bigger targets is key here. And make sure whoever's doing that is at Thebes. Once they hit Thebes is when you banish another character. While you're there, you get 2 lore. So you want to get big, smash into something, kill it, gain 2 lore, quest with everything else. That may not have added support. That's it. That's the key to the entire deck. You do that, you're going to be at 20 lore fast. Trust me.
Yeah, it basically just turns everything into a Robin Hood, champion of Sherwood. That Imperial Bow is also just so good because it does give invasive as well, I believe, which really helps with taking down.
That's going to be one of those cards. And again, I wish that you had more copies than they provide for you in the starter deck, because unless you top deck it or you have it, they get a card out like TikTok, which is not a great card. But in this kind of setting, TikTok's going to be great because he has evasive.
Yeah.
Want to make sure you have that Imperial Bow to deal with anything that comes up. 9 times out of 10, man, you see an evasive card in structured play and you're just like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yep.
But yeah, they're both decent. I think that Amber and Amethyst is less reliant on that one card. Like, you may not see Thebes. And I've had that when you play on paper, it's not like playing online. You may not see that card for the entire tournament. And if you don't see Thebes, it's going to be tough. That's where I think that Amber Amethyst deck is just, it's a utility player. It can do everything. It doesn't do any one thing well, but it can do everything. It doesn't break down, if that makes sense. I think the Sapphire Steel can break down if you don't pull the right cards.
Yeah, especially just the lack of draw. I mean, because the dig deeper that it has, which is the Sing Together that that one has, is so hard to get out because it's an 8 cost and it's uninkable. It's just versus the Look at This Family is a little bit easier.
Yeah, I would mulligan. So if you're pulling either one of those Sing Togethers, they only have one in each deck. So I know people are going to want to hold on to it thinking it's like, this is a really good card. I want to try to get this out. But that card's uninkable. Holding on to it is just going to, you're going to get locked up and jammed up. You're not going to be able to play it till very late in the game, if at all, if you have even singers on the board, or you're going to have to hard cast it. So mulligan away those cards. As much as it's going to hurt, get rid of them. Try to get as many 1-drops as you can. Whenever you're playing these tournaments, I tell people 1 and 2 drops are so important. If you're only holding 3s, 4s, and 5s, maybe I'll hold on to 1 3-drop if it's something solid that I just really don't want to part with. But I'll take all 6 to make. You want to try to get something that is going to give you a nice curve to start the game, especially when you're playing these pre-constructed decks. Because if you don't have a good 1 and 2 drop, it's going to be over fast. It's not good,
especially with the lack of draw in these starter decks. Like it's so hard to keep going.
So can I ask you this question? Can we get off of the starter?
Yeah, sure.
A second. How excited are you for the championship Enchanted of this set?
I'm so pumped. All of it, it's so beautiful. I want that mat so bad. I want the card so bad. I just I'm rabid for these things. Do I think I'm actually going to win one? Maybe not, but you know what? I want it, and I want it bad.
I feel like my chances after this first set were, I feel like I punched up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I just got really lucky in both instances, but I really need that card. Like, I really, really need that card. Now I covet it. I mean, I got very lucky. I played at a store that was about 45 minutes from my house, and I just wanted to warm up my deck, right? For my local LGS. My goal was, hey, if I can get in the top 4, like, it's gravy. But I don't even have that goal set for myself, because the week prior I played in $1,000 invitational and I got smoked. I got destroyed. So I was like, hey, if I can make top 4, I was playing Amber Steel Song. I teched in a bunch of flutes to make it run better. So I was like, if I can get top 4, I'll be super happy. So I did. I got 4th place, and then my deck died in the top 4. So then I go back to my local store, and I was honestly like, I already won one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to play Ruby Amethyst. I don't really play this deck, but if I lose, I don't care. Like, I'm just playing the play. Like, the pressure was off, and I started the day. I told you the story. I was 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had no choice. I had to win out, and I won the 3rd game. The 4th one, I went 2-1. Then I went 2-0 and 2-0. Made the playoffs. I ran into the number 1 seed. By the skin of my teeth and my matchups, I made 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Played the guy that like housed me, and I beat him 2-1. And I was like, I can't believe I got another stitch. I can't believe it.
That's impressive.
I would trade that stitch though for an Ursula. So anyone out there, if you get 2 Ursulas and you didn't get a stitch, call me, please. At Dislike Podcast on Instagram. Let's do tradesies, because I need better. I need it.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So is there anything else that you want to plug? Where can people find you?
So yeah, head to chipandco.com. That's where I'm doing all my Lorcana stuff. Occasionally, if we get little packages in the mail and Ravensburger sends us some magic mail, I will open up, troves or, starter decks over on their YouTube, and just search us at Chip and Co. I have a podcast on the Chip and Company Podcast Network, and that's Diz Life, DIS Life Podcast. We're not talking about Lorcana per se, so this is always fun when I can do that. But we're talking about Disney parks in the United States and all over the world. We're talking Disney IP, and we do what are the best Disney soundtracks of all time. So we do a lot of Imagineering, creating our own rides and trip reports, and all the fun Disney stuff, man.
It's always a great time. I love it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on. We will see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was great.
Of
Anytime you
course.
want to talk
Love it.
Lorcana, yeah, anytime.
Love talking Lorcana strategy with you, especially from the winner of 2 stitches. Because you also said that you were one that you just decided you got the 2 and then you were out. You were just like, I had more lined up, right?
I did. I had a few tournaments on the calendar, and the only reason I played in the second one was because it was my home LGS.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I teach all the kids that are there, and like they were like calling me all week. They're like our fearless leader. So I felt compelled to go. We actually, like, on a side note, I had a death in the family like the day before the tournament. So starting 0-2 was devastating. And I was actually going to leave and just forfeit the rest of my matches. But then I was like, how will the kids react seeing me leave when, like we talk about sportsmanship and all this stuff? And I didn't want to go into the details of my grandmother had passed. So I was like, I'm just going to play and I'm going to play it out. I'm going to see it through. And then my luck just started turning around. But once I won that second one, I know I told you this. I canceled the rest of the weekends because I wanted to just leave the cards for other people. I didn't think I was going to win that first one. I really didn't think I was winning the second one, but I wanted to leave the other stitches for some other players out there. I know there's a lot of people that are like, hey man, I just want to play and they want to get their 4. You do you, right? I'm not, no judging, but for me personally, I just wanted to leave some of those prizes for other people out there and spread the wealth.
Mm-hmm. But you've still got 1 extra to trade for an Ursula. So again, if anybody's out there, they win an Ursula, they didn't want a stitch, hit them up.
And it'll be PSA graded by the time.
Perfect.
Right?
Jim meant 10. Absolutely.
If it's a 10, maybe I can really get an Ursula. I just don't want to get a fake one.
Fair enough.
Anytime you guys want to talk Lorcana, come and talk Disney parks with me. Come on our podcast one time. I know you guys are parks guys, so
yeah,
let's talk parks.
All right. That sounds like a plan. We'll do it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Great having you. We'll see you again.
See you soon.
All right. And that was my interview with Marc Valentine from Podcast. Again, make sure you check him out. And if you win any Ursulas and you didn't get a stitch, make sure you hit him up to try to do that trade. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for listening along. Obviously, coming up now, as we're recording this, we got like 11 days to the first Lorcana Challenge here in the US in Atlanta. I know you're getting ready for that. You getting excited?
I am pumped. I am still trying to pick a deck. I think I'm narrowing them down. But if I'm honest, I am not the strongest constructed player. But I am very much looking forward to draft. There is some side events there that I am very much hoping to participate in.
What one are you really hoping for here?
All right, so my top one is definitely draft. But I did also want to talk a little bit about the one that's exclusive to Lille. The what was it? Pack draft?
Yeah, so
what's the name of that one?
It's called a booster battle. So you get
booster
one booster.
Battle, that's right.
Is your whole deck. It's a 4-card starting hand, and you reach 10 lore to win. That sounds amazing. It sounds crazy, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
Very luck based. If you end up with a pack with like 12 uninkables, where do you go from there?
That's true. I don't know. Maybe everyone gets an Inkcaster or something like that.
Maybe you get like 1 ink per turn or something. That would be kind of nuts.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna do like inking and stuff too. Is that all the same? Like there hasn't been too much released about it, but I just read it's literally that's all that's out there. And it is 3 rounds of Swiss best of 1. So it is, there'll be quick games.
I'm very interested to see how that turns out. I'd love to do it in Atlanta, but it doesn't look like that's on our list. So I'm going to be mostly participating in the drafts there. Trying to get those Inkland cards that I don't have to buy singles for later.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be awesome. A couple of interesting ones too. So you got the 3 versus 3 team challenge too. That's kind of cool. Have you ever played any multiplayer games?
I've played some multiplayer games, though very casually at my LGS's league. I'm very interested in the 3v3 team battle. I've seen some of them happen. Like there was an event in Miami, TCG Con last year, that they did with that. I didn't participate. I didn't participate in any of those. I mostly just kind of hung out with the artists and walked around when I was there. But the stories from that were kind of interesting because they did it the same way, where it was like you had to have every ink color represented. So it was a lot of interesting. People were trying to line up and figure out, okay, what deck am I playing? What deck are you playing?
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, I did just see it said 6 ink, 3 versus 3 team challenge. That is interesting how they do it. So they don't just pair you up like you have to actually make your own team while you're there. That's how they were doing it.
That I don't. Well, in Miami, it was they were just yeah, just team up with whoever's there. But this, I'm curious if they are going to just like, okay, you have these inks and just pair people together, or what? There's not a ton of details on this
Yeah, I
stuff.
know. It is very light to say the least. I mean, a lot of it is, I guess, pretty self-explanatory, but I
Mhm.
mean, ones like that you
I
would think
am
would be easier if
curious.
you had to register your deck. They just kind of pair you up. Could be
I
chaos
am
otherwise.
curious what the difference between sealed deck and starter deck challenge, because sealed deck would be a
Yeah,
starter deck, right? Or is
that's
it
what I would
like
think.
sealed
I
deck
don't know.
challenge? I don't know.
I thought it was
Again,
the same thing too.
some
But
some more details would be
I
lovely.
mean, yeah, there are different times. Yeah, I mean, the details thing's been kind of odd because I mean, here we are again, like 10 days out. Some of these things are like slowly trickling out as it gets closer. Another cool thing though, if you're into Lorcana, whether you just be like a collector or anything, they are going to do some learn to play demo sessions too throughout the weekend too. So, or if you're looking to get better, looking for tips, could be a good thing to check out also. And then, have you ever played Villainous before?
I have not. I was about to say I hope that they have like a learn to play for villainous, because I've been interested, but like I'm not particularly a board game guy. So like I'd love to try it. I'd love to do a learn to play with that. I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah, I saw that too because like at PAX East in Philadelphia last year, they had a lot of Villainous with the Lorcana stuff there, and they were doing a lot of learn to play stuff. So I'm kind of hoping maybe it'll be similar to that, where they do teach you to play, and then on top of that, they were doing tournaments. You already did know how to play also. Called the Villainous Challenge, so I assume it's just a regular playing event, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we got a
I'm
Swiss draft. Go ahead.
I'm curious if they have that new game, Ravensburger. It's coming out, but I don't remember what it's. Light Quest. Just that doesn't sound right.
I know what you're talking about, but no, I don't remember what
Yeah.
it's called either. It reminds me of that mobile game
Hmm.
that I see all the time. It's like Dreamlight Valley.
I do love Dreamlight Valley.
Let's see what that kid's game is called.
Chronicles of Light. That's what
There
it
it
is.
is. Chronicles of
Chronicles of
Light.
Light looks very interesting. Very much one that I have my eyes on.
Yeah, and I wonder too, because they will see like that intro to Lorcana box. Forget that was called too. Do you remember what that was called? They just showed it like
Uh,
a month or so ago.
if you hadn't asked me, I would know it off the top of my head. Gateway. No,
Gateway.
is
Well, I
is
think that's
Gateway the
yeah,
name
that's
of
like
it?
their is that the code name for it?
Gateway is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be a
Yeah.
gateway for newer players. So if you're kind of getting into it, it teaches you the ropes slowly, and then gives you rewards for learning the ropes, essentially.
Yeah, I remember that, and it just seems like a good way for to everyone to get into it, I guess, somewhat, maybe kind of like the Pokemon Battle Arena thing, if you're used to Pokemon at all.
Mhm.
But just kind of a similar way for whether it be kids to learn the game or people who are interested in the game, just looking to get used to the game and the aspects of it and mechanics and all. Good way to get into it. So I wonder if they'll show anything new there. I also wonder if we'll get any other information about Lorcana, like is if there's any convention aspect to this, or if it's just truly the card playing.
Yeah, I'm wondering where our information on the fan events are as well, because I'm very interested in those fan events.
Yeah, because I mean that I know we talked a little bit last time, maybe some like exclusive merch or anything cool that we might see only like at these challenge events. Kind of what I'm hoping for, but I don't,
Rochelle
who
did
knows?
say, well, I she didn't say today, but she did. Somebody made the comment of, I would really love to see some of those Lorcana branded hats and shirts. And she just kind of responded with the big eyes on Discord. Like, all right, well, I might be checking out that prize counter, the prize wall. Very very thoroughly.
Oh, so that would be awesome. To me, like that would be enough of a reason for me just to want to go. Like I'm obsessed with. Like I saw the head of Pax Philly, and I
Mhm.
really wanted. I was hoping they'd be selling it. They have not. Yeah, so that'd be really. I'm curious. Like, what is the prize wall going to be? Is this just going to be basic Lorcana stuff we can buy in stores? Is it going to be like exclusive things you only see at certain challenge events? Who knows? It's all going to be a
I'm
surprise.
I'm hoping that it's some of those. They had the Enchanted cards at Gen Con where they had giant like versions of them
Mhm.
that they got pictures with the Enchanted Seekers. Um, that's those are just so cool. I want a giant version of an Enchanted card so bad.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I really wish they would sell like prints or something of these that we
Mhm.
could purchase. Because I would like love to put stuff on my wall, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Especially again, I always come back to the Aurora Dreaming Guardian, but it's just it's my favorite card.
Yeah, it's a beautiful card. There's just so much good art. We talk about it all the time. I mean, in
So
this
much good
these
art.
sets, it's so hard to even pick any like a top 10. Just
Mhm.
and they continue to just up the game more and more as each set comes out. I wouldn't even get to it. So have you, I know you're talking about you think you're on a deck. Do you want to talk about what deck you're looking at or
Well, I mean, it's just Ruby Sapphire
okay.
items. Nothing particularly special there. I don't think I've made any particularly interesting modifications that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm tweaking it as I go, feeling what feels good. It's one that I'm comfortable with. I like items. It just feels so slow. Like if I come up against
Yeah.
an aggro deck at all, like I'm dead in the water. Like because like they can quest out by the time I get to turn 4, and I just like turn 4 is when I start drawing in that deck and when I start doing things. Um, so yeah, it is a very slow deck. But it's one that I'm comfortable with. I may end up doing something else. I'm really not sure, but that's the one that I'm leaning towards right now.
Are you going to bring multiple decks with you just in case you have a last minute
I
crisis?
may. I'm That's the type of person I am where I'm
Yeah.
just like I'll second guess myself at the last minute and just like no, I'm just brewing something completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, that happened to me the night before I did my first Stitch championship. I built 4 decks. It's like I didn't know what the hell to do. I thought I was 100% going aggro, which I did end up doing. Didn't work out. But yeah, I ended up just manically building 4 decks for no reason, just in
Mhm.
case.
It's exactly what I do. I'm just constantly like tinkering and building and unbuilding and rebuilding and testing and just like, well, this is going nowhere. Back to something that somebody else has built that's smarter than
Yes,
me.
that's typically what I do too. I'll do my own thing. I'm like, nope, not gonna do this. And then just go look at what's the most popular decks on Pixelborn and
Mhm.
go from there.
Exactly.
Have you been playing it at all on Pixelborn, just getting ready for the event, or what have you been doing with it? Playing locally?
Yeah, just getting practice in where I can. What I need to be doing is practicing paper and physical cards as much as possible. Again, because my nerves just
Yeah.
absolutely shoot me. Um, so I'm trying to get more comfortable there. Because I'm for the most part I'm used to playing at home with my wife.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a very different environment with that many voices going on in the background, that many people around.
Yeah, the nerves are real. I mean, I did not think I'd be that nervous playing in anything like that. Like, play like normal like local stuff, I'm fine. But
Mhm.
man, as soon as like you knew something was on the line, it's like whole new ball game. I had no
Yeah.
idea like what to expect with that. And yeah, I was so nervous. And an event like this is even bigger, so I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe if I go in with the expectation of I'm not doing anything here, like I'm winning my Dragonfires and then I'm gonna go play draft. Like that's the expectation that I'm going in with right now. So if I get above that, then I'm golden.
Yeah, I mean, at least well, you got that. Then you'll get the Flotsam and Jetsam promo too if you check in
Mhm.
early. Are you gonna get to check in early? Were you able to figure that out?
I'm gonna try. It's a long drive, and it's a long day, but I'm gonna do my best to get there in time for that promo. I love me a promo.
Yeah, no, they put a nice incentive with that. So it's cool that they
Mhm.
were doing that, just trying to get people checked in early and get why they're doing it. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that all goes too. I know there's people pretty upset about that also.
Yeah, I feel like a promo eases that a little bit, but it is what it is. I mean, we're doing our best.
Yeah, and I think I'm curious to see also like what goes down at this event, how much do they pivot the next month for the next event,
Mhm.
and what the changes may be, or also how different these events will be from event to event.
Yeah, I'm very curious how Chicago goes because Chicago is shortly after, right? I don't
Yeah,
remember the
a
exact date,
couple of
but
weeks. Isn't it
it's,
like June 9th or 10th? It's literally like 2 or 3 weeks later, I think.
yeah, I was gonna say that sounds about right because I know that it's set for legal there, and it's 2 weeks after retail launch
Hmm.
is when sets become legal. So yeah, it's got to be real close.
Yeah, right around there. And yeah, like Cameron was just saying too, if you don't know, Ursula's return cards are not legal for that first event in Atlanta.
Mhm.
So if you were thinking about it, you can't use them for that event. But those
At least
going
not for the
forward, hopefully we
constructed.
can. Right. Yeah, and I think there was specific Ursula's return events at
Mhm.
Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, I think the side events are more focused on
Yeah.
Ursula's return.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I wish you luck. I think it's going to be a cool experience for sure. And you're going to go to the first one ever, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I'm super pumped for it. Very excited. I'm going to be very nervous once I'm there, but I'm very excited right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of exciting things over these next couple of weeks going on for Lorcana between the Ursula's return release this week. You got the Lorcana Challenges, Fast and Furious for the next few weeks between Atlanta, Lille, Chicago, and then more as the year goes on as well.
Mhm.
Are you going to try and get to any others? Do you think that's the only one you'll get to?
That's the only one I'm getting to. I'm I'm not a traveler. I don't have the money for it. I don't have the patience for it. I don't want to drive anymore. That's the one that's closest to me. That's the one I'm going to.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, it's not too bad from Florida. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
No, it's not. It's not too bad. It's a bit of a drive that I'm not super excited for, but I'll have a ton of fun. I know.
Yeah, I think you will. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait to hear back of how it goes. Maybe I'll come home with some like top 64 cards. Maybe. You never know.
Sure, if I win a Rapunzel, I might die, so you might never hear from me again.
Yeah, that would be a grand achievement for sure. That Rapunzel card is insane.
Ooh. I mean, I just love Rapunzel in general, but like absolutely magnificent. I mean, all of those arts are just incredible.
And I also wonder too, like, are we gonna see special playmats at these things for at the on that? I'm really pumped for the merch more than anything, I feel like, just to see
Mhm.
what they have.
Yeah,
So
prize
yeah,
wall, prize wall, prize wall. That's
yeah.
just
And just knowing I probably won't get any of it is annoying, but I'm curious to see what's there. I'm like dying
Mhm.
to know what that's gonna be.
Yeah,
Or if
I'm
it'll
gonna
be
have to
anything for
like
purchase.
yeah, I'm gonna have to like take pictures and stuff like all over for Instagram if I can. It's gonna be hard because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing stuff constantly, especially dress, but I'm gonna do my best.
So did they say is the only way to get to the prize wall is just to play in those side events, or did they mention anything about that?
I'm not certain. I think that the general idea that I got is you win tickets from the side events that you can exchange at the prize wall. Essentially, is the breakdown that I kind of understood. If that's correct or not, I couldn't tell you.
No, it sounds about right. I think that's what I saw too. But yeah, I don't know. We'll all see just soon enough, next couple of weeks of what's going to go down with those. But it's going to be an exciting time for sure.
Watch them announce like all of this information like 2 minutes after we stop recording.
Probably. We'll see it tomorrow morning. Recording goes up 10 a.m. Everything's up at 11 or maybe 9 a.m. right
Yeah,
before we say anything.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, we do see like all the enchantments come out overnight. I mean, you wake up at probably like 4 or 5 a.m. and see all these pop up from all over the world.
Yep, yep. That's exactly how it goes. Like I'll wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, oh, two new enchanteds. I love it. And then just immediately go to post them.
Do you feel relief now that like that season's
Oh,
over?
I
You can
do.
relax. Can you sleep a little bit more?
During reveal season, it's like I am up at like 1 a.m. and then I wake back up at 5 a.m. And like it's just I get so little sleep trying to keep up with this stuff during reveal season. And like I'm like this may be too much information, but like anytime a new card comes out while I'm at work, I have to sprint to the bathroom to post it real quick so nobody sees me on my phone posting stuff.
Oh, hey, it makes sense. It makes you're doing the work. You get them all out
Yeah,
there as soon as
I
you possibly can.
yeah, I try to post them as soon as I can. I try to
You,
be the speediest.
yeah, you've gained a reputation at this point, so you need to like you got to stay with it, whether it
Oh
means
yeah.
you got to go run to the bathroom or not. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up here over the next couple of weeks for sure with Lorcana. Thank you for everyone for joining us again this week. Thank you for Marc Valentine coming on, giving us some minutes of his time with Cameron. And we'll, of course, next week probably a little bit of recap. What's been going on with Ursula's return sets? What are the new chase cards? No one knows yet. I feel like everything's kind of up in the air right now what those chase cards are going to be. Anyone you certainly think of off the top of your head?
I Today we just finally saw like the good version of the Enchanted Ursula.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it may be my new chase card. I really love the Anna as well, the Enchanted Anna, but that Ursula the full art, because the original one that we saw was it was a screen grab from TikTok.
Yeah.
And it didn't wow me at the time, but seeing the like digital version of it with the actual art, the way that it's meant to look and not like in the sunlight or whatever, it just looks so impressive. It's a tough toss up between that Anna Enchanted and the Ursula Enchanted for me.
Yeah. The Ursula Enchanted's crazy. I mean, I love Nicholas Cole. I love John Loren, and getting to see them do another Ursula together is super cool. I
Mhm.
love the Anna too. I know I think I posted like there's so many of these cards that give me like an Avengers Endgame vibe. Like they're all just kind of armored up and going towards Ursula.
Mhm.
It's cool. I mean, there's so many cool cards in the set. I don't even think I know my chase card yet.
Yeah, there's definitely too many to count. Like all of them are just so good. Like I can't.
And I love the piglet.
Oh
I'm
yeah, the piglet.
I love that card. Like I love the actual card itself. I totally want to play that card. The Enchanted's awesome. There's just so much good stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard to pick favorites. I mean, they're all just so stunning, you know? Like it is just how do you improve?
But they find a way. Like, I feel like every
They
set
do.
they have
Every set it just goes up and
taken
up
a
and up
step.
and up and up. It's just insane.
What was your biggest one you were surprised was not an Enchanted? I know we gave our guesses last time. Actually, I should have went back. I forgot to see who we did or didn't. I know the main one I said would and did not, and that's still my most disappointment. But who was yours?
I would say that the Mulan, yeah. It just I'm like it was a lot of other royalty figures, and then it ended up being Sisu instead
Yeah.
of Mulan. And I was just a bit shocked by that, if I'm completely honest. Not that Sisu is bad, because I think it's going to be a very key card, but like I don't know. I was expecting Mulan.
Yeah. Raya's gotten a lot of love in these sets early on, especially
Mm-hmm.
for like a newer movie, which I was kind of surprised about. My biggest surprise, who I thought was like the number one lock, was Donald. I mean, I think it's just because I wanted it so bad. And to not see it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited about Piglet.
Yeah, I was gonna say that piglet is so good though. Still, like it's just I don't think that they could have missed. You know,
Yeah.
like there are no bad calls there.
I mean, that's back-to-back sets now with an awesome Piglet. We got the
Mm-hmm.
Pirate Piglet in the last set. I just love what they're doing with the Winnie the Pooh stuff and this stuff. I'm so excited for that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
And then at some point, I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling we'll end up seeing this at one of the challenge events. We'll probably get the Honey Wizard and Channelook, probably one of the Lorcana challenges, one of those. Now that we're going back on like the Rapunzels and cards like that. So I'm curious to see if we'll ever see that enchanted version of that Honey Wizard too.
See that honey wizard in my heart is an enchanted. He's
Yeah.
just he's so good. You sprinkle some glitter on there, and bam, it's an enchanted in my heart.
I think out of every card that's come out, I think that actually might be my favorite art. Like the
Mm-hmm.
more I thought about it and looking back on things, I bought the mat as soon as it came out. That was the one mat I had to have. It was the first card where I was like, oh my God, I want everything to do with this card.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so cool. So yeah, I'm hoping they go back to that and do something else with it too. I was shocked it wasn't something. I was also shocked that it was an uncommon. I thought for sure it was going to be like a higher rarity.
Yeah, especially with that art, because I think we saw the art first because it was on the playmat, and
Right.
then everyone was just like speculating on like how awesome this card was going to be, and then it was just like, oh, okay.
Right. I thought this was gonna be like this card's gonna be so powerful. I'm gonna do so much of this, and I couldn't even include it in a deck, which made me salty. But
Yeah, because it's such good art. I guess just you frame it, and that's what you do with that card.
yeah,
It's a piece of art, and you treat it like a piece of art.
5 ink 2 lore. I mean, I think that was a bet with it, right?
Yep, yep.
Well, that being said, thank everybody for joining us today, listening along with us. A lot of exciting things coming up. Again, Marc Valentine, thanks for joining. Cameron for an interview. We'll talk to you guys maybe again next week. We said bi-weekly. We're doing this 2 weeks in a row now, but we'll record when we can. At the very least, bi-weekly, maybe more. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Have a good day. Thanks for joining us.